an hour and then you get like 2 minutes out. It's like, first of all, there was the director, Morgan Neville, who's like, he and Scott, they were like, for me, the main go-to people. And so Morgan started with being on the phone with me for probably 10 hours. We had like 5 sessions at 2 hours where we just talked, like the two of us just talking about the process. And this informed the whole story that we would then later do. And this is something I never experienced. Usually people come in, they have their question, I say my things. And this whole, like, if you've seen the series, it's a little bit about the conflict between what he wants me to do and what I don't feel comfortable doing, because I think it has nothing to do with the art. You know, how is it about the artist or the art? What does the viewer want to see? So this kind of conflict becomes a little bit of the thread that goes through the thing. So that part was really interesting to see it, like that level of storytelling from Scott and Morgan's side that I just hadn't anticipated. And then the second thing was just the production value, which was something, again, I've never seen. They came to the studio, built these gigantic daylight, this daylight screen that's bigger than my studio, beaming in from the outside, kind of creating daylight from 6 in the morning to 10 at night. Then there's this one shot in the series where it was in February, it was crazy cold, and they want to have this shot where I sit at my desk, and then there's a hard cut, and I sit outside in the park drawing. And then I think it's called the Ballhaus shot, right, where the camera moves around a standing target. So they had built these kind of camera train tracks, a circle of probably 30 feet in a park a mile from here. I think they spent a day just building the set up my desk with pencils, phone, drawing pads, everything, for a shot that's in the series, probably 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It looks absolutely gorgeous, but just seeing that amount of love to detail, to storytelling in a production was just absolutely wild. And when I saw it, it was just like, wow, that actually looks really cool. And like the cameras they used, the DP was fantastic, and the whole filmmaking crew. This was something where just say, of course, your heart as a creator just jumps when you see that this level of professionalism, this level of craft and technique was just wild. But that goes through the entire series. When you look at all the different ones, there are sometimes different directors. Just this level of technical brilliance is something that I think is alone worth watching.
Yes. Separate but related question came in from Instagram Live from Gaines-Sham7415. How do you construct a portfolio outside of college if you want to get good work? What clearly you have a life of creative work that allowed Scott to say, I want to feature you, Kristoff, in my film. But for someone like this particular person who's writing in, how do you know the status of your work if you want to get somewhere? What is the process of constructing your portfolio?
I think there's of course no one way. There's one thing that I think works as a like an advice you can follow, or in the abstract or in the concrete, and it is, let's say you want to do editorial illustration or illustration in general. If you would kind of go around the stuff you see online, magazines, newspapers, and you cut out 20 things, 20 pieces of work where you think, this is fantastic. I would have loved to be on the cover of Time, do a spread in New Yorker, do this ad for Coca-Cola. Just like collect these things and say, like, I would have loved to do these 20 things. And then you go through your best work, lucky shot or not, and say, which of my pieces could live up to that? If I was an art director, it doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be stylistically the same. But if I saw my drawing instead of that drawing, would I go like, oh yeah, of course, it's a cover for the New Yorker. Just like, it has the same quality. And I think there's probably no way that immediately you will have this quality, but then say that, okay, after a year, I'm going to produce work and see if I can fill 10 or 12 or 15 of these spots with my own work. And ideally, you want to have 25 pieces where you see, like, look, if they would have come to me, I would have given them this, and it would have been great. And for this one, I would have given them that. And with all of these pieces, and I think that's the next level, this is stuff that was not lucky. This is stuff that I have the solid craft to reproduce under pressure. And this is the threshold. This is the stuff that you go out with. And, it's not about, say, oh, I love Myra Kalman. It needs to look like her. It's more like my work would have to be in the same place. And I would feel like I would be proud. If that was there instead of my hero's work, I would say, like, call my grandma and say, look, I did this, and feel I wasn't lucky that they gave me this. I just, the quality of the work justified this. And I think this is like this way, if you kind of have 20 pieces like that, then you have a portfolio.
Amazing. Amazing. Last question, and this is around a saying that I've got, which is it's impossible to stand out and fit in at the same time. And we like to fit in to be accepted. We're social animals. And yet for our work to make its way in the world, to catch that eye when you're scrolling, or to get the heart or mind of an art director captured, it has to stand out. And so how do we reconcile this dichotomy? Again, how do we both stay with the times, but also again referencing Sunday Sketches, you talk a lot about not being intimidated by trends and just pursuing your vision relentlessly with what you call unfazed determinism. To me, this is a huge piece for people because we want to fit in and we want to stand out at the same time. How do you think about that, and how do you manage your time between sticking to your guns and abiding by your inner true vision, and also not being completely irrelevant?
Well, I think there's a very simple solution. You have to do both. You have to spend your entire day doing crazy artistic work, and then you somehow have to magically go back to 7 o'clock in the morning and do the entire day again and do very focused craft-based work. No, I think the only solution is just doing a lot of work. And I think maybe that's the one talent that you need to have, is to have this exuberance to do stuff, like not counting the hours, keep on working like when the day is over, because I think there's no shortcut for that. And maybe some people are lucky and they just like have the perfect radar, kind of go in the right direction, just don't care what people say. I don't have that. I don't know actually anybody who has that. Everybody just like does a lot of stuff, and you do 10 and you hope that one maybe sticks. And I think this work ethic will create work relations, which a career is not made by an outlier. I can make one drawing and it goes on Instagram and gets like a gazillion likes and maybe gets me 1 million followers tomorrow. This changes nothing. Yes, the next one I will always get like a certain. If the work I do after that is boring, like my career is over. So I think the consistency is really what makes what creates your career. And yes, that means every once in a while something needs to be a little bit more exciting than some stuff. You need these magic moments, but I think the consistency is the stuff you should worry about. I think being able to deliver, being able to kind of having a rhythm that allows you to put in these or find these 5 hours, then the rest actually it sorts itself out quite surprisingly once you have that. And that will then create work relations. People will start trusting you, and they call you not because of your Instagram post from last night, but because they know they worked with you before. They know you can deliver, you can make their life easier. And this is, I think, 90% of what we do is we have what gets me and you the next job is people can sleep at night because they call us. This is the one thing on your if people associate your name with, oh, if I call them, I can calm down a little bit, then you're safe. Then I think then your career is in an extremely fantastic position.
Well, spoken right there. You heard it from the one and only Kristoff Niemann. And if you've just tuned in, Unlucky for you, we're signing off, but this will be continually replayed and it drop again on audio here on the Chase Jarvis live show at the Creative Live. Kristoff, thank you so much for spending an hour with us today. Your work is at the top of the illustrator pinnacle around the planet. So inspiring. And I just want to thank you for taking your time to inspire all of us. We've got, again, people tuning in, New Zealand, South Africa, just saw Florida in the mix. Thank you so much for being here today. And if you needed to direct people, or if I asked you rather to direct people to your coordinates on the internet, where are some places where we would go to find more about you or more of your work, in addition to what I've mentioned, the series Abstract on Netflix? Where else would you steer folks?
Well, my website is kristoffniemann.com, easy enough. And then I'm the handle is Abstract Sunday on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So these are the easiest places to find me. And thank you so much. I mean, this was a lot of fun, and I'm flattered by the amount of preparation you must have done to find all these quotes. And so this is a fantastic compliment. And yeah, so I just want to encourage you, when you say these names of the cities, of course, in this day and age, not being able to travel is it's really breaking my heart. But just a huge shout out to all the designers around the world. And for me, one of the greatest things I learned when I traveled is you go to a different country, you can barely communicate, find a similar language, but the relief of finding that no matter where you go, we all struggle with the same thing, but we all get excited for the same thing. We all drawn to what we do because there's this excitement in visuals. And so let's hope that all the insanity out there cannot break that. And yeah, thanks for putting on that show to keep that excitement going.
All right. Well, Jones and Company, Lauren, Radonna, Daniel, Guillermo, Chris, Laura, Stephen, New, so many folks from around the world. They're not just countries, they're humans, and they're inspired by your work. And thank you so much for being an inspiring human in addition to the work that you put out there in the world. And we'll make sure to follow up, and we'll get you the audio. We're going to make so many good little excerpts from this. You've dropped so many nuggets. So we'll share those with you in the not too distant future. And again, everyone in the world, thank you so much for tuning in, and please do yourself a favor and follow Kristoff everywhere you can, because it's pure gold. Kristoff, thank you so much. Signing off. I hope you have a fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you all for listening. Bye.